Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren here at the lovely Milo's restaurant in Piccadilly Circus. Frank, what made you choose the place? I didn't know you were a bit Greek.
Well, I know you like a bit of Greek food, mate, so I thought this is where we'll be. So you're there, and it's, I know you got a sense of humus, so that's why we're here, mate.
A sense of humus, indeed I have. Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte getting ever closer. I believe you were still talking to Whyte's team about his obligations, Whyte's that is, right up until this morning before we filled our faces and drunk, lots and lots of wine. But what can you tell us about that? How close are you to getting an agreement on what he's going to do before the fight?
He's contractually, he signed a contract back in February which gives him his obligations under that contract, and also gives us obligations. And he's got certain obligations there to publicise and help promote the fight. And at the moment he's in breach of those, which is very, very disappointing. But we are where we are. And in the meantime, as you know, we put another 4,000 tickets that the Brent Council allowed us to put on sale today. And thankfully, they're gone. They're all sold. So, the fact that Tyson is back after 4 years in the UK, having conquered America, three epic fights with Deontay Wilder. He's back here now, and I think the British public got massive appetite to see him live and back in action.
Tell us, if you can, what the other side's kind of latest position is on participation, particularly in fight week.
Well, I don't know what their position is. All I know is what contractual position is.
You're talking to them. There are negotiations continuing. What's their stance?
The negotiation period was there, and then you have a purse bid. And after the purse bid, you sign a contract, and that tells you both parties' obligations. His obligation is to help promote the fight. There's no. What's there to negotiate about? He signed up to do certain things as we did, and that's what he's obliged to do.
And
he's on the missing list. Where is he? He's no social media. There's nothing. This is wrong.
Are they asking you for anything when you have these talks with them to get them to confirm that they'll do what they should be doing?
They want the firstborn. They want, you name it, you name it, they want it.
I think we've gone past that with you, Frank.
Yeah, no, tell me about it, mate. No, no. What do they want? They ask for tickets. They've asked for being allowed to put a camera crew in now, 24 security people. It's all garbage. I mean, come on.
Has their stance softened at all, though, since all this broke, and obviously the public opinion seems to be going the other way?
So our point of communication is with Jeff Bence, and Jeff Bence is absolutely ridiculous in where he's at. I mean, he actually said, I think it's on one of the radio stations, that he was a promoter. So I don't know. First of all, I don't know who he ever promoted. Did he promote? Did he have a promoter's license? If he did, no wonder he's no longer a promoter anymore, because he doesn't understand the first thing about promoting.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere he had a promoter's license in California, but no actual shows were put on under that license.
Well, what a shock. You take a promoter's license out and you don't put any shows on. Well, that tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? But the bottom line of all of it is we signed a contract. His client, he advised his client to sign a contract, and that contract is full of what his obligations are, and by the way, what our obligations are. And we fulfilled every one of our obligations. All he keeps doing is going off centre, off course, coming up with other stuff that's not in the contract. All I want him to do is what's in the contract. All I want Dillian Whyte to do is what is in the contract. Nothing more, nothing less. And up to now, he has not done that. He's in breach. He's not done that.
So you've talked a lot about Dillian Whyte and how disappointing it is that currently anyway he's not participating. It's clearly not affected ticket sales. The fight's as big as anyone expected it to be.
It's the fact that Tyson Fury is so big. As I mentioned earlier, back here the first time in 4 years. 3 magnificent fights. He's back here. The public buy into Tyson. He's bigger than boxing. He's crossed over. That's what sold this fight. Nobody else has sold this fight except Tyson Fury. When we had the press conference, day one, sold 85 or whether it was 90,000 tickets, day one. Today, another 4,000 have gone on sale, sold like that. Tyson Fury. Not a peep out of anywhere from Dillian, only from his lawyer, Tourville.
We're not going to go into why you call him Torville. But what I should ask is, if it hasn't affected the bottom line, if Tyson's big enough to sell this on his own, why does it seem to irritate you so much that White's not getting involved?
We're paying him $7.5 million and he's got an upside of $4 million. If we hadn't a bid for the fight, he'd be getting $2 million less fighting for Matchroom and $1 million less for the upside. Of course I'm upset. What we got to say then? We pay fighters to do nothing? What's he getting? What does he think? Where does he think the money is generated from? It's generated from the promotion. It's not like, oh, here's a purse bid, here's your money, sod off and show up on the night. Did he do that for any fight that he had with Matchroom? Did he, tell me, did he not show up for one single fight press conference announcing the show for Matchroom? You know the answer and I know the answer. No. So why is he doing this?
Let me ask you, if you were a betting man, and obviously we know what he's obligated to do, but if you were having to predict now, when do you think we will first see him at an event? Will it be the weigh-in? Will it be the press conference, the workout? What do you think?
Well, he's obliged to do certain things. Everything he doesn't do is going to be a problem for him afterwards. Because we're not. I'm not. You know, breach of contract is a breach of contract. One thing I've never done is rolled over in my life. I'm not rolling over for him. That's for sure. So he needs to show up, he needs to meet his obligations, he needs to do all the things that all boxers do when they're involved in big fights. This guy's getting 32 times the purse that he got, that he lodged with the WBC for his last fight. Why am I the enemy? Why? All we want to do, we're paying him good money. He's getting fortunes. Why is he treating us like the enemy? I don't get it. I don't understand one bit of this. It's beyond me.
Now, the rumours are that you may have a substitute opponent ready to step in, just in case Whyte isn't true to his word, or his contract, in fact. Is there any truth in that?
The truth of the matter is that we cover all bases.
I was expecting a longer answer there, as you might have guessed. So could all those bases include potentially a replacement opponent? And if so, just hypothetically say, would you have to pay that person even if they're not used?
Would you not think an event of this magnitude, of what we sold, that we would not be covering that scenario? Of course we cover that scenario.
Good to know. Let's talk about the undercard, which was announced yesterday. It had a fair bit of criticism, which I thought largely, if I'm honest, was unfair. I thought Nick Ball, Isaac Lowe particularly, is a very good fight. And I also thought, Umar and I were discussing this earlier, and I said if someone's on the fence about buying the pay-per-view, having a slightly better undercard is not going to make that difference either way. What do you think, though?
We bid $9 million more than Matchroom did, the next highest bidders for this fight. So we put a lot of money on to get this main event on. We're governed by expenses and what we can put together for the amount of money. I'd have loved Anthony Yard to be on there, but it wasn't possible. I'd have loved for Bob Arum's heavyweight to be on there, which unfortunately has not been able to happen. But we've got some good, even money fights, and there'll be great fights on there. The main event is what matters here. We're not trying to shortchange everybody. The fights on the undercard, will be competitive.
Great stuff, Frank. Really appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours, Dan.